It's time for all the news you need and more. Brookland is Live starts right now.
And a good day to all of you. I'm Jackson Mitchell. Time now is 2 p.m., meaning it's time for Brookland News. First day in a long time we haven't started with breaking news. It is going to be with you all, though. We do have a lot we are going to get to. I mean, just take a look at some of our, pretty much the agenda of today's Brookland News Live. We're going to talk all about the situation in Minneapolis. Not only that, we're learning the FBI has searched the Fulton County election hub. Fulton County, of course, holds Atlanta, Georgia. So we're going to talk all about that. An Illinois sheriff been convicted now of Sonia Massey's killing. The family now speaking out after court. We got video of that just in. We're going to play it. Plus, partial government shutdown pending? I don't know. The Senate had a test vote. It failed. Now we're learning within the last few moments, Republicans, the GOP conference in the Senate, holding their weekly lunch. We're learning that maybe they're going to take DHS funding out of one of these bills, and then they'll put it back, and then they'll kind of have time to discuss it, is where I'm going. They'll have time to argue, should they be funded, should they not be funded, what do Democrats want, so they can keep the government open at least for a while. So, plus, we got a lot of that coming up, and it looks as if that last headline is just from previous. It looks like we may have had some technical difficulties. It should have talked about the how Shirley Raines, popular TikTok creator, was found unresponsive in her home. So a lot of headlines we're following right now. It is good to be with you. We do want to start first with the new developments, of course, in Minneapolis. We're getting constant updates. This morning, before I was even awake, Tom Homan, who is the border czar, he was sent there after Greg Bovino was pulled out. Greg Bovino is now, according to reporting, the former Border Patrol commander at large. Now, Tom Homan is in Minneapolis, and he's leading this operation with ICE. Of course, this comes after the killing of Alex Preddy. I want to play a clip from Tom Homan in his press conference this morning.
Governor Walsh, A.G. Ellison, and Mayor Fry, as well as state and local law enforcement. Again, I appreciate they all acknowledge that we do have federal immigration laws in this country that have been passed by Congress, and that ICE is in fact a legitimate law enforcement agency charged with enforcing those laws. We're not making this up, folks. ICE is enforcing laws enacted by Congress. They're a federal statute. That said, I'm not here because of the federal mission out perfectly. First thing I said to senior staff when I walked in here is what I told you earlier. I didn't come here looking for photo ops or headlines. I come here looking for solutions. I do not want to hear that everything's been done here has been perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. Anything can be improved on. And what we've been working on is making this operation safer, more efficient, by the book. The mission is going to improve because of the changes we're making internally. No agency or organization is perfect. President Trump and I, along with others in the administration, have recognized that certain improvements could and should be made. That's exactly what I'm doing here. As such, in meetings I've had with federal law enforcement managers, including ICE and CBP and other federal partners, as well as state and local officials, I have conveyed the President's expectations with regard to federal immigration enforcement efforts. We will conduct targeted enforcement operations. Targeted. What we've done for decades. When we hit the streets, we know exactly who we're looking for. Good idea where we may find them. You have a criminal history. You have their immigration history. A lot of information about this person that we get from numerous databases out there. Targeted, strategic enforcement operations. That's traditionally been the case, and that's where we're going. That's what we're going to continue to do and improve upon that. With a prioritization on public safety threats.
Tom Homan there, the border czar, speaking talking about they're going to be doing targeted operations. Not only that, but that he says not every organization is perfect, possibly alluding to maybe that ICE has made mistakes in the past. And I think that's also something, if I'm correct here, if I don't stand corrected off the top of my head here, that Donald Trump has said. He said multiple times that ICE has made mistakes before. Of course, this is very surprising. They have really had some harsh moments with protesters. Now it appears they're backing up. In a cabinet meeting that President Trump held earlier today, he made almost no mention of ICE nor the ICE situation in Minneapolis in any form. There was none of that. And what was so funny about it is actually, so I was preparing for the show while we were airing that cabinet meeting that occurred this morning, and I had written down on what we call a rundown, which is essentially what I'm doing right now. It's a rundown, so it just says what I'm going to do for the entire show. And I'd written down, we'll have a Trump cabinet clip, because I'm sure he's going to say something. He didn't take any questions from the press, nor did he say anything on ICE in Minneapolis. So quite starking. Possibly it goes to the fact that I believe Trump in earlier times as well, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's mentioned some type of kind of toning things down. And now that is maybe their intention here by Trump not mentioning it at all. I do want to play some video for you because last hour in DC at the United States Conference of Mayors, Mayor Jacob Fry of Minneapolis did speak. Let's listen in.
Well, this is exactly the group therapy session that I needed. The defenders of parks and streets, which indeed is an honorable profession, we are now becoming the defenders of our republic and the defenders of democracy. And it is heartwarming to be here with all of you because, you know, I see your name on amicus briefs. I see your faces on TV. I feel the support from across the entire country, and we recognize that one great American city is experiencing an invasion. That is an invasion on our democracy, on our republic, and on each and every one of us. And the fact that you all are standing up means the world. Thank you. You know, never in a million years did I think that we would be in this place where troops and federal agents by the thousands have been deployed on a great American city, where the Department of Justice is used as a weapon to silence dissent, where the very foundational principles of our democracy and of our republic are questioned. You know, I didn't take this job to get into the business of defending democracy. I did it because being a mayor has always been my dream job. There's great honor in filling potholes. It is noble to keep people safe and to build affordable housing. That work which we do every single day is foundational to the principles of our republic, and all the same, we find ourselves in a different position right now. We are on the front lines of a very important battle. And it's important that we aren't silenced, that we aren't put down. This is not a time to bend our heads in despair or out of fear that we may be next, because if we do not speak up, if we do not step out, it will be your city that is next. For those of you that have been watching the news and what's happened in Minneapolis, I'll tell you, it is that bad. People's constitutional rights have been trampled. Thousands of federal agents have descended on a city that has 600 police officers. 600 police officers and somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 federal agents, ICE, and Border Patrol. People have been indiscriminately pulled off the street. Discrimination takes place only on the basis of are you Somali, are you Latino, or are you Southeast Asian. And then American citizens have been yanked away from their homes after that solely because they look like they are from Mexico or Ecuador or Somalia. That's not how we operate in America. In America, we have these foundational principles of law. We abide by our Constitution. The rule of law is not just something that you say, but it is something that we practice each and every day. And as mayors, we know that. As mayors, we operate in the reality business. It is a reality that we've got to keep people safe on a daily basis. And by the way, we do that, partnering with a number of different jurisdictions, working with our federal government. In Minneapolis, we've worked extensively with the ATF and the FBI and the DEA, the U.S. Attorney's Office, to successfully drive down crime. And despite what you may hear on different media channels, crime is down in virtually every category and virtually every neighborhood of Minneapolis. Minneapolis is a safe city. It is less safe when chaos reigns supreme. It is less safe when families do not feel comfortable going to school or buying food at the grocery store because they're worried that their very family might get ripped apart. It is less safe when we have roving bands of agents marching down the street just looking for somebody who might be concerned. And I gotta tell you, everybody is concerned when you have that kind of occupation. And so we've been very clear. The Operation Metro Surge needs to end. This kind of conduct and siege needs to stop, not just in Minneapolis. It needs to stop nationwide.
Alrighty there, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry just wanted to listen in for a few moments. This is from last hour as he was speaking at the United States Conference of Mayors there in Washington, D.C. We do have some more news about this situation. We are learning new video now appears to show, and it's now been confirmed by the family, Preddy kicking an agent's car. This is from the News Movement. I'm going to play the entire moment, the entire video. Let's take a look here.
The News Movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Preddy interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. Our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36 and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground. During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Preddy was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun is also visible above his waistband.
Alrighty, so you see the moment. It escalated so quickly, but you heard there the News Movement reporter saying they received the tip that they were blocking a street. They went to that street, they found this, and then Alex Preddy, who now the family confirms that is him. Again, this video shows him kicking out the taillight. I was watching CNN last night because they held a town hall with the Minneapolis mayor, state representatives, the police chief. They held it with as well as the attorney general in Minnesota. And they had talked, kind of noting like the legal justifications. This was the analysis after the town hall, the legal justifications of that, and I heard one person just say it would be hard to have a case be brought by someone kicking out a federal agent's car's tail light. So of course that was interesting new video showing him people that were not people that have disagreed with on the opposition of what ICE agents, I should say Border Patrol agents, CBP agents did that day. They are saying, well, this was I've heard reports of 9 days and 11 days. They say this was over a week before the shooting. It's not relevant. And I will say, I have not analyzed both videos yet, but I'd be surprised if it were the same agents that were in that car that were also at the scene that day. So, my question would be, was his face familiar to the agents that ended up killing him? Is maybe that why the moment became so escalated so quickly, because they knew what he was capable of? I'm not sure, and I don't want to imply anything here, but I do have that question. So I just wanted to get that out of there. So again, new video showing Preddy just days before we just showed you that video from the news movement. I do want to turn right now to everybody's favorite part. Actually, before we do that, Amy Klobuchar has now announced she's running for governor. This comes after Tim Walz dropped out of the race. Here's her campaign video. Tim Walz dropped out of the race by saying kind of he needed to focus on being governor rather than running a campaign, because he was facing, of course, so many allegations of fraud and the ICE situation in Minneapolis. So now Amy Klobuchar, who was really, I'll be honest with you, everybody kind of knew it was already coming. Everyone was like, okay, Amy Klobuchar is running for governor next, and in this video she says she's left being senator, but the entire state of Minnesota kind of needs help. That's at least what she is saying. One moment. Okay, so sorry, just had some news in. We might bring that to you here in just a moment. Want to turn right now to the forecast, though. So we've been covering this so closely for the last few days. Want to take a look at your 3-day forecast right now. Okay, so another cold blast and some flurries could be possible this weekend. So Friday morning, flurries are possible. That's what's being reported. Tonight, looking at a low about 22 degrees. Going into Friday, high of 30, low of 11. Still below freezing. School now canceled for an entire week. Next week, still in question here as we go into Saturday and Sunday. By Saturday, high of 24, low of 10. And I will tell you, I'm going to remember this because I think this is the most that I have missed school for a snowstorm. I've missed a few days here and there, 2 days, 3 days, if 2 days at most, I believe. And then we're back the next day because in Arkansas, the temps get up high. The temps get high right after. And sometimes it snows while I'm at school and it doesn't stick because it's 40 degrees and humid. Unrealistic temperature, but you get what I'm saying there. So we are going to see another cold blast, though. That's the issue. Is it, you see the lows, as we go back to that, a low of 11, a low of 10 tonight, the low is 22. So it's going to be cold again. And I'll just tell you, the snow, the sleet on top of it, it's just not going nowhere. So it's of course we're gonna continue following this story of weather. Taking a look live at the RDOT camera right there in Brooklyn. Highway 49, School Street there. You see all the snow piled around across the entire ground there. I mean, it's not... I don't like when snow looks like this. It gets ugly and dirty and nasty. City roads have been the problems. Bus routes have been the problem so far for school districts. They're saying, well, we can't run our buses when half the streets still have not been plowed. And of course, it's hard to plow streets when they've got snow. They got 6 inches of snow plus sleet, and then everyone's driven on it, and it's compacted it all down on one road. That's the same story on my street right now. So that's of course going to be an issue. We are going to sneak in a quick commercial break, the first of the hour. Time now 2:20. We got a lot still coming up for you. We're going to talk. Let me put up our talking points again. One moment. Let me do this. We are still going to talk. We've already talked about those. We're still going to talk about this one right here. The FBI searching the Fulton County, Georgia election hub. And Shirley Rain's death. That's what's coming up here next on Brookland News Live. We got a lot more still planned up for you. We will be right back here in just a moment. Hi, everybody. Welcome back into Brookland News Live. We still got a lot coming up for you. All right, we do want to turn our eyes right now, though, to the home of Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia. The FBI searching their election hub there in Fulton County. 2020 election documents seized. The question now, could it have been related to this phone call back in 2020 with President Donald Trump and the then I believe the Attorney General, excuse me if I'm wrong, asking for 11,780 votes. Just to bring your memory back into place here, I'm going to play the phone call for you.
I want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
So that is that phone call there, just a short clip there, but it's the phone call that became so infamous. And now the FBI searching. Now comes back in office following the loss of the 2020 election. Now they're back in office, and there's been so many questions, and all the officials that we have listened to are alluding that it is related to the 2020 election. Here is the chairman of Fulton County.
Let me start with this statement. I want to be crystal clear. Fulton County has been targeted for years because I stood up to Donald Trump's big lie and refused. In 2020, I told him and others, including then Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, then Congressman Matt Gaetz, and the president himself, to stay the hell out of Fulton County. I meant it then, and I mean it today. Every audit, every recount, every court ruling has confirmed what we, the people of Fulton County, already knew. Our elections were fair and accurate, and every legal vote was counted. These ongoing efforts are about intimidation and distraction, not facts. I will always stand with our voters, our election workers, and most importantly, the truth. As you all know by now, yesterday, shortly after noon, until around 9 o'clock last night, the FBI made a surprise execution of a criminal search warrant at the Fulton County Elections Hub. Now today, I want to speak directly to Fulton County voters as your chairman. Some people have asked, and are still asking, why didn't you turn over the records? Why didn't you fight? Number one, let me be, again, crystal clear. There is a fight. Fulton County is now, has been, and always will be committed to upholding the law, no matter what anyone else does. Attorneys carefully reviewed the search warrant and advised me that it was in the best interest of Fulton County to comply.
Chairman of the Board of Commissioners there in Fulton County, Ron Pitts, speaking there on it, saying for almost a 9-hour search, as he just said, from 12 to 9 p.m., they were searching the election hub, and they've seized 2020 election documents. We are working to get more information on this. As soon as we do, we will bring that to you. Okay, a popular TikTok creator. Well, she was kind of a good Samaritan turned TikTok creator. She was just a overall good person. Social media creator Shirley Raines was found unresponsive at her Las Vegas home, according to her youngest daughter posting on her social media page yesterday. She was only 58 years old. You may know her. She was really just a good person. You see her in these videos. She fed the homeless from Skid Row to Las Vegas to other places in California. Played the video again. You see her giving out food. Always always working for the next person, always making sure that everyone was happy. And I found myself a few summers ago on my phone scrolling TikTok, and I watched her. She was someone who not only was her personality entertaining, but the way she effectively communicated to these homeless people who had been just so uh, mentally at times incapacitated, not in the best of conditions mentally. I'm not sure if that's the best way to say it, but I mean, that's what it was. And the way she was able to communicate with them and do a good deed no matter how they treated her, because she understood what these people had likely went through. First of all, inspiring. Not only that, but just truly showing how good of a person she was and how dedicated she was to doing the work that she did. So again, she was found unresponsive at her home. I mean, it was so deeply. When I was scrolling on my phone and I saw a video, and I was like, I was shocked because she was so young. We don't quite know the reason just yet. That has not been released. But again, Shirley Raines passing away, really just a good Samaritan turned to a TikTok creator. Um, we'll keep following this story. If I learn anything more, I'll bring that to you. We're gonna sneak in another quick break here on Brooklyn News Live. We still got a lot to come, guys. We're back in a few moments. Welcome back into Brooklyn News Live. We are going to turn to a story that I followed so closely throughout the last few years or so. So a 36-year-old black mother, Sonia Massey, she called 911. This was again a few years ago, back in 2024. She called 911 about a possible prowler outside of her Springfield home. When police arrived, the situation escalated very quickly. Sean Grayson, who you'll see here in this mugshot, ultimately shot and killed her as a sheriff's deputy there in Illinois. Now in court today, He's been found guilty of second-degree murder. I want to read a piece of what he said. He said, quote, he made a statement here about admitting wrongdoing. He said he made, quote, terrible decisions. He apologized for her death. He said, quote, I was very unprofessional that night. Quote, she didn't deserve to be yelled at and cussed at multiple and called names. Nobody deserves that. Judge Ryan Cadigan of the 7th Judicial District Court in Illinois, who was presiding over this case clearly, said, quote, that bit of unreasonable rage needs to be deterred. Now he is facing 20 years in jail after the killing of Sonia Massey. So you saw there that mugshot. Late today after court, the family of Massey speaking out. Take a look.
Meaningful step towards justice for this family. While no sentence can ever restore what was taken from Sonia's family or undo the harm that was caused by this horrific act to this community, this outcome affirms a critical principle that no one is above the law, and an unlawful use of force will carry meaningful consequences. This case is about acknowledging Sonia's family, their humanity, confirming the gravity of what occurred when she was killed in her own home after calling for help, and law enforcement's responsibility to protect the public rather than place them in harm's way. The passage of Sonia Massey law, which strengthens police hiring standards here in the state of Illinois, reflects a broader recognition that failures in the system must be addressed to prevent future tragedies like this from occurring. We hope today's sentence sends a clear message that abuses of power will not be excused nor minimized. We thank the prosecution, their office, for presenting the facts and the evidence that allowed the court to reach its decision. Ben Crump Law remains committed to standing with Sonia's family as they continue to grieve and heal. At this time, we will let the family members, her immediate family members, give their immediate reactions to today's decision. We'll start with her daughter, Sonia. It's her daughter, Summer.
I'm thankful for all the love and support that everybody has came out and shown, and I'm grateful that we got the maximum sentence that we could. 20 years is not enough, but like they did what they they did what they could do. You know what I'm saying? Ain't really got too much to say.
Thank you, Summer. Now we will have a statement from, would you like to speak? Mr. Wilburn, this is Sonia's.
I just want to say God, because never in the history of these United States has a law enforcement officer been given this kind of sentence, a maximum sentence of 20 years. We don't think that's enough. And the law needs to be changed here in Illinois so that there's something, a greater value placed on second-degree murder here in the state. But right now, overwhelmed with joy. We prayed that this would happen, that he would get the maximum sentence. But we look forward to him being prosecuted federally for violation of Sonia's civil rights. I don't care who's running this country right now, but I'm going to let you know that as her dad, I want him prosecuted so that when his sentence is up here in the state of Illinois, he can begin his federal sentence in the federal penitentiary. Thank you.
Mr. Wilburn, he could be out in...
I'm not going to take any questions right now. I'll take questions when we get to the other place.
I just want to thank everybody for the support, even the media. Thank you for letting everybody get our story out and for believing in us. And I want to thank the judge, and I'm so grateful to get the full extent of the sentence. Thank you.
Thank you all.
The Massey family speaking out there in a situation that's just been so, first of all, a lot of people watched it. I was researching a little earlier today to catch myself up on everything that had occurred, and found a clip from the National Association of Black Journalists when President Trump went. If you remember that, that was a heated moment. Besides the point, he said, "quote It didn't look good." When of course the body cam footage had been released of all of that. So that incident now, you heard them saying they will seek federal charges. Civil rights charges, what they're implicating there, that Sonia Massey's civil rights were not followed, essentially, there. So a lot to cover there. Okay, so do you want to turn to our next story? During a cabinet meeting held earlier today, we aired it right here on Brookland News and FBN Special Report. President Trump now saying he spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin, asking him not to strike on Kyiv and essentially the entire Ukraine right now, because of course they are experiencing a pretty bad winter storm. I want you to take a look at this video.
Extreme cold. They have the same that we do. I personally asked President Putin not to fire on Kiev and the cities and towns for a week during this. It's extraordinary. It's not just like cold. It's extraordinary cold over there too. They're having the same. It's a big pile of bad weather. But it was. They said they've never experienced cold like that. And I personally asked President Putin not to fire into Kiev and the various towns for a week, and he agreed to do that. And I have to tell you, it was very nice. A lot of people said, don't waste the coal, you're not going to get that, and happy that they did it.
That's correct.
Because on top of everything else, that's not what they need, is missiles coming into their towns and cities. I just thought I should say it. I thought it was a very good thing, and Ukraine was almost, they didn't believe it, but they were very happy about it.
President Donald Trump there speaking. Sorry, didn't mean to cut him off there, but saying that he had spoken with the Russian president, excuse me, asking him not to strike for a week on Kyiv and the city's experiencing this big winter storm. You know, I was watching, I believe I was scrolling Instagram, and I saw a news organization reporting on the winter, and it was like a time-lapse video, and snow continuously, it covered the car, they, shoveled out the car, and then it covered the car again. It just was not a good scene there. They were seeing a lot of snow, a lot of cold. The president right there talking about the weather they're experiencing. Way worse than what we're experiencing here. We're just getting a little cold, a little sleet and snow, ice in places like Mississippi, which also not a good thing, but too much snow. I mean, we Arkansas would not even handle ourselves with all that snow. Okay, do you want to turn to our next story? The Senate remaining divided at this hour over whether to fund the government, at least on DHS funding. Want to play the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and the Senate Majority Leader John Thune. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican. On talking about all of this. First, though, the Senate is in session right now. There's a live look there at the Senate floor. Might be talking about funding. I can turn the audio up here and look.
Close to 1 in 8 of our students now attend a public charter school, And more than
alrighty, maybe not. So, just want to see what they were talking about on the Senate floor. But, so, where's the right video? Excuse me. Okay. So, I want to start with John Thune. This is him yesterday, of course, on this funding. So pretty much Democrats and some Republicans are saying, well, we don't want to fund the DHS. DHS is who funds ICE after the killing of Alex Preddy. Here is John Thune.
It seems like a government shutdown here, a partial shutdown, would be different, however, because the federal pay period almost gets you to the middle of the month based on the time of year. The FAA, they've already gotten a paycheck, and they still have some leeway, so the impacts fundamentally would be different.
Not entirely. I mean, you still have the uncertainty that comes with it. I mean, yes, you may get this paycheck. Am I going to get the next one? I mean, the last government shutdown the Democrats put us into, they kept it going for 43 days. And, honestly, it's not necessary. Government shutdowns don't benefit anyone. I've said this many times before. And so, in my view at least, and I think the view of all of us, we ought to pass the package on the floor, fully fund the government, and move on to other things that the American people expect us to work on.
President Trump has repeatedly urged the passing of the SAVE Act, as well as many MAGA Republicans. What is the holdup in the Senate? Why hasn't that been brought to the floor to vote on the improvement of citizenship and vote elections?
Well, I'm for that. I've co-sponsored the SAVE Act in the past. I think my understanding is that they are still modifying the bill. It includes right now a requirement that you be a citizen to register to vote, but it doesn't include a requirement that to vote you be a resident. So in other words, if you're going to have what we call voter ID or photo ID when somebody goes into the ballot box to vote, that's not currently covered in the bill. So that's been fixed and addressed, and I think the new bill that comes out hopefully will deal with that. But I mean, at some point we'll have that vote. I'm for it. I think most of our colleagues in the Senate are, and I don't, it hasn't had consideration in the relevant committee yet. But I know there's a high level of interest among our members in getting a vote on SAVE Act.
Okay, that's John Thune there. He's the majority leader, so he's the Republican from South Dakota who leads the Republican Party over in the Senate. That's his take on the funding there. Let's take you to the Democrat side of the party, the Democrat side of the aisle, I should say. This is Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Well, what the American people are seeing right now is not just horrifying. It's a direct result of choices and policies implemented by the Trump administration. The killings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy in Minneapolis, tragic killings seen now by millions and millions of Americans, are horrific and can never be accepted. And it helps importune us to rein in ICE and end the violence. Under President Trump, Secretary Noem and Stephen Miller, ICE has been unleashed without guardrails. They violate constitutional rights all the time, and they're deliberately refusing to coordinate with state and local law enforcement. This is not border security. This is not law and order. This is chaos.
So that is their Minority Leader Chuck Schumer there speaking on this, saying can't find him because of what ICE has been doing there. So right now we do have some new reporting that there is some type of conversation between Republicans that maybe they're going to take the DHS funding revision out of the bill to fund the government. They're going to pass that so then they can debate DHS funding later. But that would mean that if they change up the revisions here and they revise things, it has to go back to the House. So unclear if they're going to get that done by tonight, and of course if the House is going to get it done by Friday. So a lot of these things, they just take a lot of time. So that's not that you heard that the reporter asking John Thune about the government shutdown, saying, well, if it was only a partial government shutdown, would it really matter? I mean, people have already really gotten paid, and then some people don't get paid till the middle of the month, etc. there. So a conversation there. So a conversation there on maybe if the government can get this done by Friday. So we'll have to see what they have going on there. Quick break. Brookland News Live returns in a moment. Hey y'all, welcome back. Okay, so still a lot to talk about. We want to give you an update on this situation. Representative Ilhan Omar, the Democrat from Minnesota, she was holding a town hall when she was attacked. Appeared to be sprayed by apple cider vinegar is now what authorities rather are saying. Here's the man who was arrested for it. There, look at that mugshot. There you go. There's the man that was arrested for this attack. Let's show you the video here. I'll tell you, it wasn't pretty, to say the least. Take a look here.
Abolishment of the agency. ICE cannot be reformed. It cannot be rehabilitated. We must abolish ICE for good. And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment. I don't know.
Oh my God. Oh my God, he sprayed something on her.
I need a napkin to know nothing. No, we will continue.
No. Ilhan, you need to go get checked.
No, we will continue. These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it.
So you hear her, she's very definitive. She says we can't, essentially, like, we can't let this man win over. As you hear her debating with her security, give her 10 minutes of what she ultimately ends up saying. She's responding in a new CNN interview. Take a look.
Well, you know, I realized a long time ago that whether it is the president's dangerous rhetoric, whether it is the death threats that I get, whether it is the right-wing vitriol, or this man attacking me last night, their ultimate goal is to stop me from being a public servant, from serving my constituents with the dignity and the honor that they deserve. And last night, I was carrying out a promise I made to my constituents that I would hold a town hall every single month and be able to give them feedback on what I've been doing in Washington, D.C., and be able to answer their questions. And so it was really important for me to not allow this person intimidate me into running out of that room and canceling that town hall. My constituents deserve to have their congresswoman continue to do the work that they elected her to do, and that is my promise, and I will continue to do that.
So there you go. That's Ilhan Omar responding after this attack, saying she had to keep going. The town hall ultimately ended up keep going. She said she was okay, and later, of course, that man was arrested today. He's being charged on the federal level for, of course, attacking this congresswoman, spraying her with apple cider vinegar. And CNN also reporting that apparently the man who was arrested, I'll show his mugshot again. Apparently he had told his neighbor, "Watch my dog, because I might get arrested." I'm being for real. So quite interesting take there. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows what was going through that man's head there. So, here's some more news. The Federal Reserve decided to hold interest rates. This is the first time they've done it since 3 straight cuts here in Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, late yesterday.
A couple things. One, there's something to it in that we know that higher income households that tend to own real estate and tend to own stocks, securities, and those assets have been going up in value, and increases in wealth do support spending over time. So, and that's clearly a part of the story. We also know that for some time now, for a year or more, we've been hearing from retailers, for example, that serve lower income customers, whether it be food or the big box stores or anything. They're saying the same thing, which is our consumers are looking to economize. They're trading down from brands, and they're buying less, and it's changing their buying habits and that kind of thing. So we're seeing that, and that is a reality of what we're seeing. They're still consuming, but they're feeling it in a different way. I would say more broadly on affordability, we have a vast network through the reserve banks and also through the Board of Governors where We talk to small and large businesses and households. And so we do hear a lot about affordability, and we take that very seriously, and we take it to heart because, one of our jobs is price stability. And so, the best thing we can do for people who are feeling that squeeze is to keep inflation under control and, frankly, to finish the job of getting inflation back down to 2%.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell saying we got to keep inflation back under 2%, something the Federal Reserve has been attempting to do. Trump, of course, attacking who he calls Too Slow Jerome Powell on Truth Social. I don't have it pulled up on my screen, but I did read it. Attacking him, saying he held interest rates instead of cutting interest rates. This comes after his term as the Federal Reserve Chair is coming up. That means the president will appoint someone. He'll likely appoint someone who's going to follow his agenda that he wants to lower interest rates. So we'll have to see what happens there once he appoints a new chair. Nicki Minaj now saying she's President Trump's #1 fan. That coming up next, right here on Brookland News Live. Hey y'all, time now 2:56. Welcome back here live into Brookland News Live. I'm Jackson Mitchell. Of course, it is still good to be with you. Turning now to an event held yesterday. We aired it right here on Brookland News Live. But a new clip going viral on social media. So Nicki Minaj now saying she's Trump's #1 fan. Let's just roll the video.
Hello. Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate, well, what I have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen?
There's Nicki Minaj there speaking. This comes after she's received a lot of flack for becoming a fan of President Trump. She became a fan of President Trump, or it appears maybe she has been a fan, but it's ultimately been coming out more often after he talked about the Christians in Nigeria. So there's that. So now she says she's the #1 fan of President Trump. Join me here in just 32 minutes. Trump making an announcement from the Oval Office. It's probably going to be longer than that until I see you, because we're going to come on the air as soon as we see the camera pop up of him in the Oval Office. As soon as we get that, we'll bring it there. It's coming up at 3:30 p.m. So we already have the stream scheduled. All you have to do, just click on it, and then as soon as we go live, it takes you right there. Remember, you could join me right back here tomorrow. Weekdays, 2 p.m. Central. We'll be right back here tomorrow with more news of the day, what we got to bring you, so much more. There's a lot to talk about all the time, guys. Also, wait 1 second. Forecast. We'll wrap you up on this, because take a look. 22 degrees, tonight's low. As we go into Friday, Saturday, those lows are going to get a little bit colder, so it's going to be something to watch out for. That is going to do it for us on this Thursday. Okay, so I see you tomorrow, and then after that, I won't see till February. So, new month, same Jackson, same show, same time, same everything. That does it for us, guys. Have a great day.